Hello everyone. So today we are going to cover part 3 of Indistractable. And as you can see, this is a very long chapter. And it covers the topic on external triggers. And the author talks about how to manage interruptions, email, group chat, meetings, your smartphone, your desktop, online articles, and feeds. So I will not be covering all of those topics, but I will cover the ones that I have tried. And I'm going to share my screen now with you. That's here. So before we get started, there is a little quote I want to read from the part 3, and this is chapter 13 in part 3. The source of the distraction during these moments when you are maybe with your family or doing something that is important, isn't an internal trigger. The ubiquity of external triggers like notifications, pings, dings, alarms, and even other people make them hard to ignore. So in this chapter, we're talking about all the distractions that are external. And we have plenty of those in our life as we are surrounded by so much technology, starting with our dear smartphone. I'm going to move to the next slide. So the author says 2 things about external triggers. They create a never-ending stimulus-response loop. What does that mean? That we are called to action every time we hear the ping or ding or something shows up on our desktop screen or something shows up on our phone screen. A response has been created for us to react to it immediately, right? And this is something we are all familiar with, right? The moment we hear the sound or the vibration, we look. And that's the response in which, this is a loop, an action, a behavior that it's been learned and that we have to somehow try to stop so that doesn't distract us. And the author mentions that one way to do it, one natural way or response to it is to ignore them, right? So we're going to ignore them. But as long as they are within the field of our attention, within sight, we will not be able to ignore them, because just the fact that your phone is next to you, like my phone is here now, and I'm not looking at it, but I know it is robbing off your attention. So I'm going to put my phone away now, so you can have my unconditional attention. So ignoring doesn't work. You must remove the distraction from your field of attention, or from your field of sight. Let me show you my next slide. So the first thing I looked into was my desktop. So that was my desktop before. And as you can see, it's pretty much a nightmare, right? So when you open your computer to a desktop like this, what it does is that it distracts you. And for one thing, you really don't know where to start, because you don't really know what the important stuff is. The important stuff is all mixed with stuff that is not that important, or stuff maybe that is old, that is not relevant anymore. So I've done this before and then came back to this again. However, you cannot say you do it once and it will be like that forever. But it's a commitment to keep working towards having a clean desktop. This is how it looks now. So I had to, and this is the screenshot with the 2 screens. So even though I had 2 screens, I have so much less now on my desktop. So this is how it's looking nowadays, and I'm very proud about it, very happy about it. But as I said, it's a commitment to keep it like that. And you can see I have on my right side screen, I have 3 Word documents that should be in one of those folders, but they are not. So something to work on. So that's the first thing I apply. I work on my desktop because the author says that opening to a desktop that is uncluttered allows you to really focus on the task at hand and have clear what is it that you're going to do when you open or you start your computer and you come to your desktop. So that's what I do with my desktop. I'm so proud of myself. I hope you try this. This is really good. Visually, it's so much easier on your eyes. And honestly, really helps you with your focus. You will come to your desktop and know that there are only so many folders that you need to go to for that day and pick the one that you need to be working on. I still have like maybe 3 folders that could be removed that are recent folders that I moved from my old desktop, and I haven't found a place for them, but it's work in progress. So the other hacks that I try were my smartphone and the online articles, because I'm a compulsive reader. If it's there, I have to read it. So we all receive emails with fantastic articles, or we are sometimes browsing and we find, wow, this fantastic article, right? And we, as I said, I'm a compulsive reader. I have to read it, at least the abstract, or at least a few lines. But sometimes it's not just that. Sometimes I read the whole article and lo and behold, 40 minutes pass by and I'm off task again, right? I got distracted. So what I did for the online articles, which I wrote here, is I added Pocket to my browser. If you type Pocket app in your browser, you come up to this app and you can download it and it will appear in the top of your browser. So what Pocket does is that when you see an article, whether it's you receive by email or you see this article while you're browsing, it saves it for you. So you click up and then the app Pocket, and then the article you're looking at that moment is going to be saved there. So now I tell myself, I cannot read it now, but I will read it later, right? And consequently, I also had to schedule reading time. Remember, we talked about the block time schedule last week? So now in that schedule, I schedule some reading time for me to go into my Pocket and read maybe 40 minutes or for an hour, or how much time I allowed in my schedule. And the other thing I did was to hack my smartphone. I uninstall apps that I don't need, that are there because they are there. I also removed Facebook and LinkedIn from my home screen. And now I only check them when I am at my laptop or computer. So that's a big compromise. But remember, we get LinkedIn and Facebook reminders in the emails as well. So it's not that I'm totally cut off from them. I can see still them in my emails, right? So maybe that will be the next thing. So consequently too, you have to schedule some Facebook and some LinkedIn time in your schedule, maybe an hour. That you go to Facebook and LinkedIn and you look what is there, answer to requests, or just spend time there. By removing them from my smartphone, I remove the distraction, so I won't hear this ping, ping every time there is a Facebook or LinkedIn reminder, and then I will not feel the need to look into it, right? Because that's what is the distraction, the urge that we have to see what's going on, right? Or what has been posted or who's contacting me. or who accepted my invitation, right? Which is good stuff to know. But as I said, now I can save some time during my week, maybe twice a week, or 3 times a week, especially with Facebook, that I go, that I post, that I read somebody else's posts, and I read the messages as well. The other thing I did was I grouped all my apps on 3 screens and deleted all the other ones that were empty. And that has been so rewarded. I felt so good because now I have all the apps that I really need in those 3 screens. One thing that the author recommends too is that once you got rid of all the apps that you don't need, and you just have those that you really are your go-to apps, that you can separate them, right? If you have 3 screens, or maybe just put the main ones in your home screen, but you can also separate the ones that are work apps from the ones that are fun apps, right? Like I have one page where I have my meditation app, and I have my WhatsApp app, which is the one I use to communicate with my family. And then I have my main screen, I have all my work apps, my main email app, and then I have also my Dropbox app, and 2 other more that I go to all the time. So that's the other thing you can do. Once you have all of them, just group them, and you can categorize them, right? My work apps, my fun apps, my play apps, my whatever you want to call them. And then I learned to use the do not disturb setting. Lo and behold, there is a no disturb setting, and this one, the one I have in my phone, allows you also to activate the do not disturb for certain days and for certain periods of time. So you really have something urgent to work on, you can turn on let's say you need to finish a project or a translation and you want to be 3 hours completely undisturbed, you can turn on the do not disturb from 9 to 12, for example, every Monday, if that's the time you're selecting to do a project or to work on something. And I find this is really nice because it kind of allows you to feel like you have the power over your phone and not vice versa, that the power is on the phone and the phone controls what you do and how you do it, right? So that has been really enlightening. I really like that feature. And it's not very hard to use. I managed to. You only have to go to your settings, and there is a do not disturb setting, and then go there and explore and see how you can use it to your advantage. So go to our Facebook page, and there you're going to find the information for introduction, part 1 and part 2 of Indistractable. I will upload these slides today, and that will be unit 4. And I think we still have a few days more before our meeting. Today's the 12th, so the 19th, which is next week, will be my last live post, and that will be for part 4, prevent distractions with facts. And after that, we will move on to our book club official meeting, which will be August 29th at 10 a.m. So you have still one more week to catch up, to look at our videos, to read, to take notes. The discussion will be based on the questions in the Indistractable discussion guide, pages 267 to 271 in your book. It's at the end of your book. So just browse the questions, and if you want to pick a question that really talks to you, do so, and you can comment on that in our discussion. That's all for today, and stay indestructible.